special guest on our Tiffin Talks. Thank you, Hannah, for being here. It's such a pleasure. I've watched your career grow from strength to strength. You've been on stage, you've been in streaming services even before streaming really became big. You've been on television and you've been on film. I think all of us loved you in Lipstick Under My Burqa. And of course, now Bavri Chori. Thank you very much for being with us, Hannah. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Kaveri. It's so nice to see you after so long.
Yes. So we were just talking about your wallpaper, and you held aloft this picture, which, if you could show our viewers, I think it says a lot about you because you really do love the stage, don't you? And you did a lot of work with Nasiruddin Shah and Ratna Pathak Shah and their motley crew. And that really is your foundation. Although you went from Lucknow to Whistling Woods, I know, but theater is, I think, where you really earned your spurs, right?
Yes, I did. In fact, I think I'm very close to being on stage. In fact, I think yesterday I went to, day before I went to the NCPA because it opened after a whole
Right.
11 months. And the Symphony of India Orchestra was performing. And just listening to a live performance on stage after so long, I started crying when I listened to the national anthem only. I was like, okay, I have to stop getting so emotional during this performance.
Right.
But it was lovely because I just think like I'm very rooted to the theater. I'm very rooted to stage, and that is something I truly enjoy doing. I love being in rehearsals. I love being on stage. I think anybody who has ever done stage absolutely loves
Yeah.
the idea of keep going back to it. So
Right.
hopefully this year I should be able to do some more plays.
And what is it like working with these two amazing actors? Both of them, I think, are so generous with their time and with their talent. And they've groomed so many young people. What is it like working with them? I believe it's very egalitarian, and although it's tough, but it's wonderful.
I think it's the most amazing experience of my life. And I think if it wasn't for these two really passionate people,
Mhm.
I would have not been able to find my, footing into this world of performance. And, honestly, like I started my career with stage.
Right.
And with Nasir sir, it's always the never give up. He just doesn't give up on us. And, when you don't get something right, he's always literally after you. Like he'll not give up on you. He'll keep doing these workshops. In fact, he has this really lovely house. He's got a farmhouse, and he takes all of us, like we're like 10, 15 of us. He just takes us there. There's no network out there. The whole day we are doing our imagination workshops.
Mm.
We are doing, acting exercises. And I feel like it's such a great relief from, like, we literally cut away from the world and we literally go back to being on zero ground,
Right.
which I think is something that we completely forget doing after a couple of years, when we feel that, oh, I'm doing so much work in cinema and I'm doing so much work in OTT. I think it's always important to keep revisiting your roots and finding something new to play with, because that's when you'll discover a whole lot of yourself, and then you stop being monotonous in the work that you're doing. So
But it's not
completely
very easy, isn't it, Ahana? Because, the glamour of cinema and OTT is so seductive that it's very difficult to sort of strip yourself down and go back to your roots. So how do you do that? You have to really, it's a choice between going to that farmhouse and maybe doing a fancy event and wearing some beautiful borrowed clothes for that day.
Well, it's reduced a lot, but I mean, I still feel that it's important to be able to do as many workshops as you can. Yes, it is a tough call, and at times, obviously, I've chosen the latter, and it's not been easy. But and I've got a good earful because of that. But I also feel that at some point of time, we'll all realize what is important to us, because now I think also the communication in cinema is really changing, and it's really changed the way people are looking at actors. They're not looking at them because of what they are wearing, but what is beneath that. How well they like, can they perform, or how well can they hold an audience with their performances. And I think that's really a paradigm shift in the way the audiences have started looking at actors. Otherwise, we would have not had such breakthrough performances in 2020. There's a reason why so many actors have suddenly like taken center stage. So there really is something to it. There is something to performance. And if you're not going to be able to perform, then I think you will not be spoken of. So I
Right.
think the actors are really at that stage and at that at that place in their life now that they need to understand that I have to perform. Otherwise, the audiences are pretty critical of our work if they don't like something.
Right. But it's all too easy, as I said, to follow the path well trodden, isn't it? That you look pretty, you show up for a few songs, and, your work is done, and you get some endorsements, and, life is wonderful, isn't it? So, what keeps you pure? What keeps your art pure?
I think Kaveri, for me per se, it's really been like training myself, working on myself every day, staying close to my family. I think your family members are the only people who will not look at you and be like, "Oh my God, what a star you are." They'll just be like, "Oh my God." And that's how I'm treated at home. They're just like, "Yeah, whatever." So I think that's really important that that I come back home and I'm like, I stay with my parents and. Anything like I wake up in the morning and my parents are never fussing around with me, except for like when I have to run to shoot and they know that I'm following a schedule, then they know like they can't like, come in between my work because then I'm like all right up and I'm like, where this? And my mother's like, you should have kept it at night. So I'm like, yeah, okay, So I think, the only way you can keep yourself true to everything is just surround yourself with the most real people. And for me, that's very important. I've literally surrounded myself with my school friends, with my college friends. I don't have too many filmy friends. I don't know a lot of people in the industry. I work with them. Yes, I hang with them, post shoot and stuff. But that's about it. I literally like cut away and then come back home because then that's like for me that's like ground reality. For me, like meeting Nasir Sir Ratnam, I'm talking about works of fiction from with them. I'm doing a very nice play right now with Rahul Dakuna, which he's written, and we performed also that we called the place called One on One Unlocked, which is One on One Part Three. That's Rage Production third, third piece of the same anthology that they've been following.
Mm.
So we're going to be starting to meet very soon for that rehearsal because we're performing in June. And then I keep really like I keep in touch with my entire theater groups, like the different theater groups that I work with, because I know like all the actors are now working, in different.
Right.
So it's always important that you like these are the people I've literally grown up with. So I know that that they're not going to be able to judge. They're not going to judge me for who I am. I
Mm.
think they just accept me for who I am, and I think that's very important.
Right. Let's talk a little about your family, since you did mention, especially your mom. I'm fascinated by her being a police officer and you growing up, under the shadow of obviously a very, very strong mother.
I did. In fact, I have such funny stories. My mother didn't allow us to grow our hair because it was too much work for her.
Good. How many siblings are you?
We're three of us. So it's my sister, me. My sister's a year older than me. And then it's me. I'm Malcolm in the middle. And I have a younger brother. And he's in Canada.
Okay.
But my sister and I were literally like a year apart and we're best friends of sorts because, she's very motivating. She's another very inspiring woman in my life.
What does she do?
She's actually a perfumer.
Oh,
She works at a fragrance house, but she's very passionate about fitness
okay.
and she loves working out. She has a fitness channel of hers on Instagram.
Oh,
She literally made me take up fitness seriously during the lockdown and then started making me run. Like I can now easily run a 17 kilometers
wow.
thanks to my sister because she used to just be like, wear your shoes, get up in the morning, have a coffee, come on, let's go. And I'm just like, it's the lockdown. I should be sleeping till 10, But I was up and about at 6 a.m. and I used to be running and I used to be doing everything, outdoor in the sun because that time the lockdown had just eased up and we were allowed to go down. And, in the mornings, like both of us used to be like, okay, let's quickly go for a run before it gets crowded, and this, that. And then we used to just run for literally an hour and a half or like, do a hit training at home. My
Wonderful.
sister's really like somebody who very, has inspired me all my life. Again, my mom, she's now turned an advocate. She's just,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh,
she's become an
oh,
advocate.
yes, of course. We wrote about it. Yeah,
Oh,
she earned her degree late in
yeah,
life, right?
six-
Wonderful.
68, and she got like a 90%, 97 like ADR. Her ADR was very high. And I
How
was like,
inspiring is that?
and I was like, oh my God, like these two
Mhm.
are kicking my ass. I better like put my socks off. With my mother
So,
and my sister, like I don't think like they'll ever take my career very,
seriously. But what were your impressions? Did your mom ever talk about her work? What was the kind of police work she had to do? Was it investigative? Was it more counseling? Did she ever talk about it at home?
I don't think my mother ever brought work home. She
Okay.
never did. And I think that was really wonderful about her. While growing up, we never spoke about her work. Although there were so many times that I remember Shivani and I used to be at the Kotwali because my mother was the Kotwali in charge. And there
Okay.
were so many times after school we had to go to the Kotwali because my mom was working. And then
And
when did we hang because that's her workplace, that's her office. So
this was Lucknow, Ahana?
yes, Lucknow.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
in Hazratganj in Kesar Bagh Kotwali. So like lots of
Wow.
places, So it was really funny because we had a fairly different upbringing compared to most young girls. Like
Yeah.
we saw criminals being beaten up. So it was
That's
a
fascinating, isn't it? That
it
that
is.
world was so different.
Yeah, it was. And I swear to you, I knew that when I grow up, like I remember my father asking when I was young, he was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember telling him police officer. My dad was like, there goes another one in our family. Another one wants to become a police
What
officer.
does your dad do? Is he also in anything to do with the law?
No, no. My father's a medicine man. He's from the
Okay.
pharmaceutical background. He worked in Lupin Laboratories for almost 40 years.
Right.
He retired as the senior vice president from Lupin.
Right. So he must be an expert now on vaccines and COVID.
That's all we talk about at home. That's all we've been talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm sure he knows it all, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's the only conversation we have at home. It's so funny.
So it's so wonderful to, we have this, this mental block, unfortunately, even now that children of working mothers have, suffer from attention deprivation, and all that. It still is, something that working mothers have to fight against. So it's interesting that you really talk about a whole new world you were introduced to because of your mother's work. uh, you want to talk a little more about it? I find it quite fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there were only in fact, all my Masis are officers because my mother's best friends are all police officers.
Hmm.
I saw women in uniforms all my life,
Hmm.
and it was something which was very normal for me. It
Hmm.
wasn't something like, how like a lot of women dress up differently and go to work. My mother would wear her uniform and go to work. So that
Hmm.
was very normal for me to see. It was very normal to be when there were jeeps and police officers and those kind of things. It was it was just so normal. That's what I'm saying. Like I remember when I was in school, I used to tell my mother, I'm like, you don't pack my lunch, people bring, like, I know these mothers who are
Typical.
bringing over, their daughters, and you made me cut my hair. I don't even have long hair.
Right.
So she was like, I don't have the time to sit and make a plan.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
I remember like those fights back in the day. Like, it was crazy. I used to be going like this. I was this rebellious, this child who's like, you're not letting me grow my hair. I don't have long hair. All the girls have long hair. I short boy cut hair. So I never did indoor things. I hated doing indoor things. I used to love doing outdoor. I used to love playing in the field. I used to never eat my food. My mother used to go mad after me. I don't know how she'd handled it. As like a hooligan like me. If I had a daughter like me, I would like slap her. But I just feel like in hindsight, you know, even though we drove my mother crazy because we were the three of us, and
Hmm.
all three of us are very strong headed.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I think my sister's still like somebody who's very, she listens to my parents. She's like the right child,
Hmm.
like the perfect
Perfect.
child, who's
Right.
not going to be rebellious, who's, if my parents have said that this needs to
Hmm.
be done this way, Shivani will do it. But
Hmm.
I was like the opposite. Like, when my mother would tell me this has to be done, I'd never do it.
Hmm.
Like, I'd just do the opposite. So it was, I think she did lose her mind over the three of us at many times, but I really have to give it to her. Like today, when I see the kind of achievements she's got the President's Medal, and she was one of the 12 officers who got the President's Medal. And remember, we all went to Delhi for her felicitation.
Wow.
When she got the award, all of us, like, we had like tears in our eyes, and we were so like,
What was it for, Ahana? What did she get the medal for?
she was in the CBI then, and
Right.
this was basically one of the most outstanding officers of. I think it was something to that effect. It was only 12 officers from the CBI all over the country had
Hmm.
got the award, the President's Medal, and my mom was one of them.
Wow.
So I think, like, so even at home right now, like, there's my award, the Dada Saab Phalke Award for lipstick, which I've got, and
Right.
my mother's President's Medal, and both our medals are like,
Right.
Aju Baju. So I feel very happy about that when I see that.
Right.
So Mama has given us a lot of, I think what she really has made us realize very early on in life is that, that you should not stop at one thing. Like this is not the end goal. There
Mm.
is a lot to you and there's a lot more to you. So
Mm.
don't think that, that if this doesn't work, something else might not. So I think that is like the fighting spirit that she has. And I think that's the kind of spirit that she has instilled in both my sister and me.
Right. And
Yeah.
you needed it. You do. And you need it in this industry, don't you?
Yes, I think so. And I think that is really, I think the one thing that she told me when I think was, I was all over the place at one point of time. I didn't know because honestly, we really, also in this industry, what happens is we don't know who to reach out to.
Yeah.
We're in trouble.
It's not like an organized place, you know.
Exactly. There's no HR. There
Yeah.
is no, I don't know
Exactly.
who to talk to. There's no boss. There's nobody. So
Right.
I don't know at times like you feel very, very lost because you don't know who to talk to and
Yeah.
who will give you the right advice because everybody out here is also looking out for themselves.
Yeah.
And that is unfortunately the nature of the industry. It's not
Right.
like that it's out of like it's just the way the workings of the industry are such.
Right.
So I didn't know at one point of time, who do I reach out to? Like,
Mm.
what do I do? Like, I'm going mad. I don't know what decisions I'm making. I'm partying with these people. I think it's networking, but it's so stupid because it's just wasting my time. And I'm waking up the next morning all hungover. And I'm just like, this is not the kind of world I see myself growing up in. And this is not
Right.
the way I've been brought up. So I remember having a very long chat with my parents about it. And they were just like, whatever you do, just make sure that, that you do it on your own terms and you do not feel ashamed of it.
Right.
Forget us, forget all of us. You do not feel ashamed of it. And
Mm.
you should be very like proud of the space that you are in. And I think that kind of made me realize that, okay, you know what? I need to switch off from everything and I need to just concentrate on working on myself. And the
Mm.
minute you start concentrating on yourself, everything falls into place.
Mm.
And I think that has really worked for me in my career.
At what point, Hannah, did you have this sort of realization? Because you went to Whistling Woods, you must have earned your degree, and you must have done well. It's also a good institute. You're witness to a lot of creative people who come there. You have a good visiting faculty and all that. So you went into the industry right away. I think you did youth. That was one of the first things you did. So at what point did you feel that you were not doing something right? What point did you have that realization?
I was doing, Kaveri, I got out of Whistling Woods, and honestly, we were the first batch of Whistling Woods, so there really wasn't any streamlined
Right.
space at that time. People used to make fun of, like, in fact, that you're from an institute. I remember going into so many meetings, and they were like, "Oh, you paid to learn acting," and I was just like, I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't
Right.
have spoken out loud. I remember those days when we were judged just because I went to a film school, and I paid a certain amount to learn how to act. And I was like, what else? I don't have a choice. Like, I don't come from a film family where I've grown up eating, sleeping, breathing films. I have to smuggle into a little room and watch films because I need to understand the works of Chaplin or like Peter Sellers or anybody that I ever want to watch as a performer or as so I remember like that was very difficult when I got out of Whistling Woods. There was no work.
Mm.
And I remember doing odd jobs. I worked as an assistant casting director. I worked as an assistant director. I worked as an assistant production person. I did theater for about almost, say, 7, 8 years continuously. I just kept doing theater. And I was
Mm.
like, that's one thing I'm not going to stop doing. So I remember right from the beginning, I was involved with Motley. I was working with Motley. And then, of course, with Maxor and then AK Various and different theater groups. And I just didn't stop doing theater. But after my first break, when I got youth, after that, I was just like, okay, now this is the big flight,
Yeah.
this is it, I've made it. So, and then it comes and slaps you so hard in the face because the show doesn't do well.
Yeah.
And then you don't get picked up for the next job. And
Right.
that's when you realize there's nothing certain.
Right.
There is no formula. There is nothing certain. It's going to come and slap you in the face. And you're going to have to get up in the morning, put that lipstick on, and just go for the next audition. Also, there were opportunities which were very scarce at that time. There
Mm.
wasn't any OTT. There was more television, there was films, but there was no OTT.
Right.
So actors like me who wanted to do, more real work, more work which is like rooted to us, which we connect with. That work that I resonate with wasn't coming to me.
Yeah.
And at that time, like I felt very lost. So I didn't know whether in the films, am I supposed to play the heroine, or in a TV serial, am I supposed to play a vamp? I just didn't know what to do with my life, and I didn't know who to reach out to. I had no one to reach out to at that time. I was so lost, and I was just like, this is just going to be depressing to like a next level of depressing. But I remember doing lipstick, and I didn't hear about the film for very long, for almost 2 years. And then suddenly, like, I got a TV serial. I got a TV serial called Agent Raghav with Consuelo, and I was very happy to go back to work. It was a very different workings because it was a TV serial set. It wasn't something that I was used to. It took me very long to get used to that space, but I made great friends there. And of course, then I did kabaddi with Star Sports, so I learned how to live anchor in a broadcasting space, and it was very different. I was like, oh my god, like this is like I have literally put my foot into every shoe. Let me try this. Let me try that. Let me try this.
Of course.
So, and I think it's only trial and error that kind of like made me realize that, what, just keep working. And when I watched Nemo, and that for me, like my greatest phrase in life is just keep swimming. And when Dory says like, keep swimming, I go like, yeah, that's me, just keep swimming.
Right. Right. So, but was there a point where you felt that, let me just go back, or, let me just do something else?
No. I don't think I got the chance or the time
Right.
of that. No, I didn't actually, because I think I've literally, as I said, I've not said no to a lot of work. I've always said yes. I've been a yes man all my life. I've literally been like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Okay, you're not doing it. I'll do it. There's so
Yeah.
many times when actresses have walked out of roles and I've said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. It doesn't matter. I'll do it. So I'm
No,
literally,
why not? I mean, why stand on prestige, right?
I always feel like everything's an opportunity and you
Yes.
should be able to play to that. So, yeah.
I have always wondered why you didn't do well. It was, Anurag Kashyap, Amitabh Bachchan. I mean, it was a great cast and it was well publicized. What happened, you think?
I think it was a little too ahead of its time. I think today, if Youth had come out on OTT, it would have done very well.
Yeah.
But I think it was a little too ahead of its time. People didn't understand that it also came at prime time.
Hmm.
When people want to watch TV serials, it was
Hmm.
a very different mindset. It was a very different audience back in the day. Now
Hmm.
the audiences are very different. Like my mom sits and binge watches every show that releases on every platform. She's taken subscription to everything. Like, because I'm on like every platform. But
Right.
she sits and watches everything. She knows every actor by their names now. So that day she was talking to me about Amit Saad. And
Right.
then she knew so much more about Amit Saad than I did. And I was just like, why do you know about him? And then today she was watching something with Richa. So she was talking about Richa. And then she was talking about some other actor. And I'm just like, you watch everything. She's like, I know all the actors now, So I just think like the audiences also have
Right.
changed. It's such a massive shift. So thanks to this audience, we have work.
Absolutely. But talk a little about youth. The experience was quite overwhelming, wasn't it? Because you got to play Mr. Bachchan's daughter, which is, of course, quite an experience. What was it like? And what was it like being directed by Anurag Kashyap?
We were mostly directed by Ribhu Das
Okay.
Gupta, who's Anurag had directed just a few episodes or
Right.
just a few scenes rather. Anurag had conceptualized, it was his show, he'd put it together,
Right.
but Ribhu directed the show and most of it. And it was pretty fantastic because honestly, like this was the first time I was facing camera outside of film school
Hmm.
and professionally. And I was put right in front of like my first scene. I remember, gosh, I walked into the room and Mr. Bachchan is standing right in front of me. And I go like, pinch me someone, like just pinch me now, like I'm standing in front of the greatest mega star of of the century, like it was just one of those things. But he just makes you feel like he really respects you, and that is really lovely about him.
Hmm.
We went on set and he was just, the only thing he asked me was like, I hope you don't have any problems with rehearsals, Ahana. And I was like, no sir, not at all. I do whatever rehearsals you want, and it was really nice because we spoke at length about our relationship in the show, and from where I'm coming and where is he at this point of time in his life. And I I mean, for me, youth will always remain one of the most special shows of my career, of my life,
Hmm.
because there were so many times, when I used to be doing a scene, and Mr. Bachchan used to be like, and he used to never call me by my name. He used to always call me Taruni by my character name.
Okay.
And throughout the 1 year, for 3 months that we shot, he called me Taruni. And I actually thought he doesn't know my name.
But I'm sure he does. So sharp. He's so sharp.
Till we finished the show. And then I remember on my first birthday, he sent me a text.
Wow.
And I was like, he knows my name. I think forget anything else. I was just like, I was more than anything else, I was just so excited that he knew my name. And, I was just like, I thought he thought that my name was Taruni, So I think it was very endearing about him. And he would just clap for me when a scene went well. He would really like make me give it my all. And till today, I remember like it's on YouTube. The entire show is on YouTube. I've seen it twice. But I know exactly like which second, which minute where that scene has come where Mr. Bachchan has clapped for me.
Right.
And for me, those scenes remain the most special scenes of my career, like the most. So,
But you also had to not be intimidated by him. Yeah, you have to be clear, because if you're intimidated by him, I think you're already on the back foot. He doesn't like that, I think.
oh, he doesn't. And I think he's very good with his actors because
Yes.
he knows where the actor's coming from.
Right.
He also knew that this was the first time I was facing the camera. I think he knew all about it.
Hmm.
And, he wants you to do well. He
Hmm.
really wants you to perform well. And, and it's very, very evident in the way he, does his scenes with you.
Hmm.
He'll really like play it by the ear with you, however you're taking it.
Hmm.
And I don't remember any other actor apart from Nasir sir and him that I've enjoyed doing my scenes as much. Even Ratna, for that matter. Ratna, I love.
Yeah, she's lovely, isn't she?
Like
Yeah.
I love working with these,
Yeah.
the three of them, and I've just learned the most watching them.
Right. Ahana, talk a little about being a young actor in Bollywood and trying to surround yourself with the right ecosystem professionally. Personally, we've talked about, you're fortunate that you live with your family, you're fortunate that your family gives you enough space, and yet, also nourishes you and protects you. What about the professional ecosystem? As you said, everything in Bollywood is quite transactional, isn't it? I mean, nobody will help you just because they want to help you. There has to be something in it. So is there a particular are there particular directors you've sort of ended up associating with, or how do you, my question really is, how do you end up getting work? Because
I,
usually if you associate yourself with a particular production house, it becomes easier, doesn't it?
yeah, I don't think I've been able to do that. I've
Hmm.
not been able to.
Is that important, Ahana?
I think yes, because I see a lot of actors continuously working with the same production house all
Yeah.
the time, and I do see that. And I do think it's inevitable that you do it, but I don't know how to go about doing those things.
Right.
So I'm perhaps incapable of doing that kind of work, and therefore I audition for everything I do.
Right.
I've auditioned for every role that I have ever played in my life.
Right.
I don't think I've got any job without an audition.
Even
I,
now, even
yeah,
after so much work
yeah.
that's out there.
Yes, I audition for everything I do, everything.
Right.
So
But
I don't
that's
feel,
quite remarkable, and you have no inhibitions doing that.
but that's my job, Kaveri. And
Right.
sometimes I think it's important that you audition because sometimes you come to know that can I do this part properly? And I think that's very important to do as well.
Right.
We may think that, oh,
Hmm.
I'm gonna nail this, but I need to also know how
Right.
do I go about putting the nail wherever I need to put the nail.
Yeah.
I mean, before nailing it. So I've auditioned. I remember when I auditioned for Khuda Hafiz. I Farooq didn't know me. Panorama. Nobody knows me. I don't know anybody from that space. I know them now because I've worked with them.
Hmm.
But it was important that I auditioned for that part, and it took me so long to audition for that part
Hmm.
because I was given an Arabic piece to speak. And I was like, I cannot. I don't know how to speak Arabic. I'm sounding really bad in this. And I remember speaking it in front of a couple of my friends, and they were like, "You're sounding like a Malayali." And I said, "What? You guys?" I said, "No, I'm not going to do this in front of you all." So it was really bad. And I was like, "Oh my god, I cannot be so bad at something." Like
Right.
it made me realize that I had to really like just go out there and do the audition. So I think it was like shaking myself out and being like, okay, I'm not going to be inhibited by this.
Hmm.
I am going to go and face this fear and do
Hmm.
it. Whether I suck at it, it doesn't matter. I'll give it a try. So I think that's very important to do. But yes, I think like over the years, my associations with my directors has been, trust me, the most fantastic. I have made such amazing friends. And you know, I understand that the industry is very transactional, but you can make friends here.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
people really look out for you if you don't have an agenda.
Right.
Thankfully, I've not had any agendas when I've worked with people. I've truly made friends out of my directors, you know, whether it's Ribhu, whether it's Shad, whether it's, you know, any of my directors I've worked with. Like, I've just really worked with some of the nicest directors who have made friends out of me and, you know, call me when they cook mutton or they cook fish or, you know, there's like, you know, we're having like these lavish food fiestas. So because I've been able to manage to make such amazing friends, uh, I think that's also kind of worked in my favor because I don't even like sometimes like need to reach out to them for work. They'll always call me if there is a job,
Right.
and they know that I have no inhibitions in auditioning. So
Hmm.
even when like I do know Gurmeet really well and I know Karan really well, but I auditioned for Inside Edge, and
Hmm.
when Gurmeet, I remember I got a call from Casting Bay saying that a particular actor is not doing this role now, but we need you to do this role. I
Hmm.
asked how many scenes was it, and they said only 5, and I was like, why will I do 5 scenes? You know, I need to do like a bigger part, and you know, whatever, whatever. But then Guru was like, just read the scenes. I'll send you the scenes.
Right.
Just read them. And I said, okay. And I auditioned for that part, and I knew the next day I was shooting. But
Wow.
it was just about like, you know, sometimes the director also needs to have that faith ki, okay, you know what, I know that this role is not very big, but Ahana will be able to do this.
Right.
I know she'll be able to do justice to it because I'm never really looking at the length of a part. I'm just looking at like, can I really have fun with this part?
Hmm.
And you know, and that might lead to something. So I just think like open yourself to possibilities and just don't work with people with agendas. Like that's something that has really worked, I think, in my favor. And I hope, you know, whoever's watching this and wants to make a career in films works on themselves as opposed to working on agendas.
Exactly. Let's talk about working on yourself. How have you done that? What are the big things that you've sort of discovered about yourself? Have you had to fix about yourself? Have you had to improve? What are the things that you've had to do over the years?
A lot, a lot.
Yeah.
I think I was very rigid when I started. Like I was just like, it's my way or the highway. I'm not gonna do it. None of
Right.
those. But I did realize that, you know, if I don't fix things, if I don't fix myself, then nobody will fix it for me. I'll have to
Right.
do it only for myself. And it goes not only with me, I think it goes with everybody. Like fitness is something that I never thought was important to me or to my life. And I never was like, I was like, why do I have to do this? Why do I get up in the morning and go and
Mm.
work out or, you know, whatever. And then I realized, I said, okay. And I think Maxer kind of told me this. He was like, you're not taking yourself seriously. And I was like, what do you mean? I am so serious about everything I do. And then he was like, no, you don't take yourself.
Who's Max, sir?
Makran Deshpande.
Okay.
So we call him Max, Mac
Okay.
Deshpande. But Makran Deshpande has been like one of my, I would say like he's a mentor. He's
Right.
somebody I talk to when I'm very lost,
Mm.
when I'm feeling angry. I call him up and I just, you know, I just speak my heart out, and then he'll never give me a solution, but he'll always let me look at myself from a different point of view,
Mm.
which I
Mm.
think is very important. Sometimes you need that person in your life.
Right.
And with me, like Max is one of those, you know, in the industry.
And you're very lucky because he's been around a long time and he's
Oh
done
yeah.
such amazing work that he's again a very grounded person, isn't
Oh
he?
yeah, yeah. And he is very loving. He's very
Right.
like, he just wants you to do well. And I think that is very important that we surround ourselves with people who want you to do well.
Right. Right.
I think I've just gotten lucky with him. So I remember him telling me one day, he was like, you don't take yourself seriously. Look at the way you're looking right now. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm so nice. It's like, he like, your hair is all over the place. You don't do your hair properly. You don't like, look at the way you're dressed right now. You're looking like one, I don't know what are these shorts you're wearing? You know, so he was just like, when you go for meetings, at least look proper. So I was like, oh yeah, yeah. So I think a lot has come to me because I listened to him very carefully. You know,
Right.
it's like take yourself seriously for the world to take you seriously. If
Mm.
you're not going to do that, nobody's going to do it for you. So
Mm.
I really had to fix these things about also my attitude, which I was just like, oh, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And
Mm.
then I was like, do I want to be a working actor or do I want to be a waiting actor? Let me
Mm.
be a working actor. You know, so those permutation combinations, sometimes you need to tweak certain things in your life, in your career, to be able to understand where you want to, which direction do you want to go into.
As a working actor, I've always wondered, is it more difficult for women, young women, than it is for young men?
I think it's the same for both, but
Hmm.
of course, like you get to hear constantly, oh, your clock is ticking.
Yeah,
You go like, okay, but I'm also getting a lot of work right now, so
right.
I'm very happy to be in that space where I'm getting a lot of work. But of course, like I have friends who keep calling me, they're like, I think you should settle down now. I think you should settle down now. And I'm just like, yeah, I'd love to, but at this point in time, I'm getting such great work. I don't have the
Yeah,
time to get married.
right.
Yeah.
And this whole notion of settling down, I mean, doesn't mean that you have to give up one thing to do one another thing. Yeah, but at the same time, is the industry less ageist and sexist than it was, say maybe 5 years ago?
I think there's more roles for women of my age. I
Right.
think a lot more work. We're definitely getting a lot more. Of course, it'll reduce, I think, over time once, but I'm glad that they're still writing roles
Hmm.
for women. I think they're not even looking at age anymore so much.
Yeah, I don't think it
Just looking
matters.
at like, okay, let's get this actor for this part,
Right.
or let's look at her for this role. And I think that's really nice because now, like after all these years, like you've established yourself, and now I'm just like, okay, now I also want to see like who do I want to work with? What is the next role I want to do?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that kind of like that's the kind of space I want to be in now. So I
right.
think that's happening a lot because they're thankfully writing those parts.
Yeah. So you have a nice little wish list which you've hidden somewhere where you tick off one name after the other.
No, I have no wish list, Kaveri. And I swear to you, I've just been so happy that, even without a wish list, I have been, I just think I've been a greedy person. I've just been like, just throwing it out in the universe that I want to work with everybody.
Yeah,
I really do want to work with
yeah,
everybody because
yeah,
I do want to, like, I didn't in my life imagined I would have done a Madhur Bhandarkar film.
yeah,
I just got a call for his film. Within 5 minutes, I was like, I'm doing this film.
right.
It was literally like, 5 minutes of narration, and I was just like, I'm doing it. Like, it was
That's
literally
India lockdown, right?
down.
Can you talk a little about it? What is it?
Oh, it's a film about the lockdown, of course. It
Hmm.
is it's an anthology. It follows the life of four people
Okay,
in different situations, 4 stories, and how, everybody's stuck in their own way in the lockdown. Um,
right,
so when I'm playing a commercial pilot in it who had a very like high flying life and,
right.
uh, and there's this one particular scene that they've written in the film that I was like, I'm so sold right now. I'm so sold. Like, this is the scene I want to do. Like,
What is it? Can you talk
no,
about it?
oh my God, he'll kill me. But it was really lovely. When he narrated that scene to me, I
Uh,
was like, all of us have felt this during the lockdown. All of us.
right.
All of us.
Who are the others in it?
There is Prateek Babbar. There is
Okay,
Sai Tamankar in one story. There
right,
was Shweta Basu Prasad in another story. There
right.
is Prakash Bilavdi in one story.
Oh, lovely,
Very
lovely
nice.
cast, huh?
Very good cast. I was
Right,
very happy when he told me about the cast. I was like, this is a really nice cast he's put together.
right. What was it like playing Priyanka Gandhi?
I was just talking about it with, I think someone just before you, and I said it was so short, but so lovely. I
Right.
would love to play her at length. And I still remember when I took my pictures and they went out in the media, when I was playing Priyanka, and I remember those pictures going out in the media. I couldn't believe myself
Hmm.
after a test. So I'll tell you how I got the accidental prime minister.
Right.
I did I did Inside Edge. I did literally 5 scenes in Inside Edge. But
Hmm.
Hansel sir saw Inside Edge and he liked my performance. And
Hmm.
I got a call to audition for the accidental prime minister.
Hmm.
I had no idea what I was auditioning for.
Hmm. Hmm.
I went to the audition place and then they gave me like this sari and then they gave me the the headgear. And I was
Right.
like, is this Priyanka Gandhi's role? I don't know. And they were like, yeah, I auditioned for Priyanka. And I was like, Priyanka Gandhi? Like, it was literally like, okay.
Right.
Thankfully, I'd seen this sit down interview of hers and Barkha's
Right.
where she was talking about how she's not interested in politics. And when I auditioned for Priyanka's part, there was very little material on her on YouTube.
Yeah.
Very little. Like she's such a private person,
Right.
before the elections that there's nothing, about her on the internet. And I was just like, how do I get any material on her? And
Hmm.
thankfully they kept sending me material, but there was very little role in the film, for me to do. There were a couple of scenes which got edited out which I think were very nice, with Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka having a conversation about the future of Congress and everything. And they're very nice scenes, but they were like, we don't have any way to prove that these scenes are true or this is actually
Right.
happening, so we cannot show that in the film. And that's the reason why they edited those scenes out. But I remember like the first day of shoot, and I wore this sari and I wore the headgear, and I just looked at myself in the mirror and I was just like, I'm being a real person. Like, I
Right.
better play it well. It
Right.
was just, I think it's a massive responsibility
Of
because you need
course.
to play that person to the T, and you need to play that person right. And you cannot have like a political opinion. You just have to have, uh, I think, empathy towards the character that you're playing.
Yes.
So I think that was very important. And I just hope I get to play her in a longer format. I just,
Right. Did you ever hear back from any one of them, any one of the Gandhis? No. But I'm sure they must have watched it.
I'm sure. And I remember like reaching out to everybody. I was like, can I just meet her like for 5 minutes? Because I just want to see how she is.
Yeah.
And I'm quite fascinated by her. Like I've always been fascinated by her. So
Right.
I've always felt like I'll meet her someday.
I hope so. And then I hope you get to play her for a longer time. What about working on things like Betal and Rangbaz? They've also introduced you to a whole new audience and you've played varied parts in them. What has it been like, the OTT space?
It's been very kind actually, Kaveri.
Right,
Really. I would have never imagined playing so many parts.
right.
I was very happy when Rangbaz came to me because, I don't get cast for a girl from UP. I
Yeah,
just don't. They just don't know. I don't know why they have this perception about me that, oh, Ahana is very urban. And I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, just go to Lucknow. I'll tell you how many girls look like me.
Yeah, I mean, Lucknow is not the first place one thinks of when one looks at you, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and you've spent a major part of your life there, right?
Like my entire school, like my school life, I've spent in Lucknow. So
Right,
I know so many girls who look like me. It's just because now I work in Bombay and like, I'm like in a circle which is required me to look a certain type or like be glamorous. That doesn't take away from the simple fact that I do belong to that city and I do come from that place.
right.
Um, you know, uh,
School
but
did you go to in Lucknow, Ahana?
sorry,
Which school did you go to in
I
Lucknow?
was in Lamatmia.
Oh, okay.
I,
Wonderful. The best school possible.
I love Lamatmia. I loved our campus. And then a couple of my friends were visiting from when we were shooting Rangbaz. And I remember
Right.
them coming to Lucknow. And I was like, I'll take you guys around. And then they saw our campus and then they were like, this is your campus. And I was like, I was
Yeah,
like,
I mean, just studying in that place, just studying in that place is such a privilege, you know?
so lovely. And I just miss Lucknow. And I just said yes to Rangbaz the minute Bhav, who's the director, he met me. He was just like, I'm doing a show. It's on, Shri Prakash Shukla. And I was like, "Hun,
That's it.
I know. Like, you don't need to tell me.
Right.
And it was nice because I was playing like this. And the reason why I agreed to do again that role was because the entire show was about these two characters, who are lovers, but they're going to be on the phone
Right.
throughout.
Right.
They just don't meet except for once. There's this one
Right.
scene in Clark's Abad, and Clark's being like my childhood
Oh,
haunt.
yeah. What a lovely place it used to be. I used to love going there. Really special.
Yeah, it was. And for us, Clark's Award, like going to Clark's Award was just like, oh, when Papa comes back from Moscow, we Clark's Award. आज सबसे अच्छी फ्रॉक पहनूंगी मैं. It was
Exactly, because I think there was no Taj then. There was no other hotel. Clark Sawad was
Clark's
really
Award
it.
was
Yeah.
the epitome. It
Yeah.
was like we had to wear our best clothes to go to Clark's Award.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. So I still remember when I got to play the receptionist in Clark's Award, I had to be behind with Nawaz Shah Singh, like, standing behind me. There's one he had this really funny painting with that one nipple. And I always found it really weird because that haunted my childhood. I was just like, oh, now I'm standing right in front of him. It was really funny. And I still remember that the fragrance in Clark's Awad, it took me back to my childhood. The minute I entered the lobby, I was like, oh my God, I'm transported suddenly. I'm like 6 or 7-year-old child, coming with her parents to, eat dinner in her best frock. So I think for me, Lucknow was very nostalgic to shoot.
Right.
And Rangbaz was fantastic because, I got to play like this UP ki ladki, which I was very happy that they thought of casting me. because otherwise I'm telling you, I just don't get cast for those roles. Again, in Betal, to be able to do prosthetics,
Right.
very, very cool because,
And
uh,
half your face being
yeah, and, literally
disfigured.
like
Yeah.
staying in makeup for about an hour and a half in the morning and understanding how prosthetics actually work. So I think it was, and then working with Vineet and the rest of the gang was really nice. Patrick and Nikhil, they were really fantastic directors and literally held a hand through Betal. And also, I think the most exciting part was just like, years ago, I used to be dancing with Shamok. I remember I was
Mhm.
a dancer with Shamok. And
Really?
yeah, I kind of like, I used to dance when I was in college.
You did the shamak classes.
Yeah, and I did the awards also with them. So I did like
Oh.
a couple of awards. I did this award called Sansui Awards, I remember. And I
Hmm.
was dancing behind Shahrukh like in one of the awards.
Oh,
But
that's
I
the
thought
ultimate.
yeah, it was so weird because I was like, I was doing this song called Gumshuda, which, he's from his film.
Right.
And and I remember Shah Rukh dancing in the front, and we were like in the last row, and all of us were like dancing, and I was like, oh my God, that's Shah Rukh Khan, that's Shah Rukh Khan. I was just like that. And years later, he's my producer,
Hmm.
and I'm just like, I don't know if I should ever tell him this story because he'll really feel like I'm such a silly goose, but
But did you tell him? I'm sure he must have loved it.
I haven't told him yet.
But again, a very generous man and a
He's
very
lovely.
generous producer, isn't he?
Lovely. He's lovely. And very, I think we could, when he started talking, we were just like huddled up. We all were listening to him like, oh my God, like this should not end. Like this
Yeah.
should go on and on and on.
Yeah, I think he's quite mesmerizing, especially when he imparts wisdom. There's a lot of it that he has.
Yeah,
Yeah. What about Lipstick Under My Burqa? Talk about that because, again, a fantastic role and it really put you on the map, didn't it?
it did. I really owe a lot of my career to Lipstick.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be indebted to
That
Alankrita.
was your breakout.
Yeah, I think for me, I remember I refused the film when it came to me in 2000
Why?
because I was shooting for Yudh at the same time,
Okay.
and there was no way I could be messing with Mr. Bachchan's dates.
Oh, yes.
I was like, oh, I can't. Can you all shoot in the next month? Because I'll be free next month. And then I think Alankrita was on a very tight budget. And she was like, no, we have to shoot it in March. And I was finishing um, um, Yudh in March. And then April was free.
Hmm.
But Alankrita was very like, no, we have to shoot the film in March because we've just got the budget and we have to do it now. And we've got the actors and everything. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, there goes a film, But anyways, I didn't hear from them for a long time. And then I remember Parag and Shruti, who were the casting directors, they called me and they were like, "There's a film that time it was called Lipstick Wale Sapne.
Acha.
There's a film called Lipstick Wale Sapne, which is being produced by Prakash Jha Productions, and
Right.
Alankrita Srivastav is directing it." And I was like, "Hey, I know this, I've read the script, I know this,
Right.
I got this." And then they were like, "But you have to come and test for the part." And I said, "Yeah, of course I will." So
Right.
again, I think in August or something, I went and tested.
What was it, 2013, 2014?
2014.
Right.
I think I auditioned for it in 2014.
Hmm.
And I tested, and Alankrita liked my performance, and then I was on board. And I remember shooting for the film, and honestly, we didn't really give so much thought to it while shooting for it that it may blow out of the ball out of the park. But it was just one of those that films that you really want to be a part of.
Hmm.
And I was just very happy with the cast because I was like, oh, I'm getting to work with Ratna, and I'm getting to work with Konkana, and
Apana, yeah.
I'm getting to
Wonderful
work with
cast.
Vikrant. I was just very happy with the cast. I was just like, I want to work with these actors. Just by sheer watching them, I can learn so much more.
Right.
So for me, that was very exciting.
Right.
Of course, and whatever became of the film became, and then it's just I'm so grateful that everybody kind of joined into the into the being of the film that it became.
Yeah.
And of course, like Ekta joined forces, and she's a force to reckon with because she's just she brought in all this woman power into the,
Yeah.
the film.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think I remember watching the film with Alankrita and Plavita in Tokyo for the first time.
Hmm.
Watched it with the Japanese audience,
Hmm.
and the Japanese audience is very different. They are not like they won't laugh like Indians, like ha ha ha. They just come, sure whether they're liking the film or not. So I was constantly like, do they like the film? Do they like the film? Like, I don't know. because I was like, I'm really finding it funny in pieces and bits and pieces. Like, of course, there were places where I was just like, oh my God, there's so many times I was holding my tears and I was like, oh God, I should not cry now,
Right. Right.
But for us, it became very special. The film became a very global film for me because we traveled with the film to so many countries
Right.
and we met with the same kind of reactions from women from across the globe.
That's
And
fascinating, isn't it? Yeah.
like there was this woman in Tokyo, I remember, she came and she just hugged Alankita. And she spoke in Japanese, so the translator was standing next to us. And then she was like, how did you know my story?
Mm. Wow.
I swear there was like the three of us just like stopped breathing for a second. We were just like what? Like this is a story about Bhopal.
Mm.
And this is a woman in Tokyo. And she's saying that this is her story. So I
Mm.
think like it's very interesting that you know how women find uh like they find like like unity in a lot of things, which I think is like something that happens across the globe and we don't realize it.
Right. And did they tend to laugh and cry at the same place
Yeah.
across the world?
Yeah. It was
It's
quite lovely.
amazing.
It was
Yeah.
lovely. It was lovely.
Yeah. So, what next for you now, Ahana? You've got Madhur Bhandarkar's India Lockdown. What next?
I've just completed a very interesting show called Call My Agent
Hmm.
with
Oh, the one based on the French show.
yes.
Wow. Talk about that.
Oh, it's really fun. So we've got a very fun cast put together.
Who's
Uh,
in it?
so there's Rajat Kapoor, Soni
Oh, he's
Razdan.
so good.
There's a young boy. His name is Ayush Mehra.
Uh-huh.
There's me. Or the four of us play the agents.
Hmm.
Apart from us, there's a girl. She's a very young, bright actor. Her name's Radhika Seth.
Hmm.
There is Anushka Savni, who's playing my girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Then there is
Oh.
my girlfriend.
Sure.
And so very interesting casting that's put together.
Hmm.
And I think every episode has really interesting actors
Who
walking,
coming in?
yeah,
Yeah.
coming in and going out. So we got
Like the French show,
yeah,
right? Playing
so
themselves.
that was the whole excitement to be able to bring. That's what like when we met Sameer sir and Deepak sir yesterday, we had a promotional shoot. And then they were like, the first season was not like a very big season. The second season became big because all the actors watched the first season and they were like, oh, like this show is about actors,
Right.
about what goes wrong in their lives and how these agents are trying to like,
Right.
just like fix situations in their career. And I think like the roles that are written in the Friends series are perhaps I think the best roles I've seen for the actors to play, like really the funnest. And it
So,
was really, really fun to play.
so who are the people who are walking in and out in the first season?
Shad's gonna kill me. But I'll just take a few names. So the names that are already out, there's Richa and Ali. They
Okay.
are part of one episode. There is
Playing themselves.
playing themselves. Everybody's playing themselves except us.
Yeah. And
There's Farah Khan.
oh,
There is Jackie Shroff, Nandita Das.
Jackie Ann, sorry.
Jackie Shroff, Nandita Das.
Wow.
There is Tigmanshu Dhulia.
Wow.
Really fun. Like because these are just like a few, a few of a lot.
And this is directed by Shad Ali.
Yes, yes.
Oh, how nice. He's
Yeah.
such a lovely guy.
He's lovely. We've had the best food at his house.
And he's a Kanpuria, right?
I know. So
Yeah.
we got along like house on fire. He like, अरे तुम लखनऊ से मैंने कहा अरे तुम कानपुर से.
So he must have had a lot of things to talk about.
In fact, it was hilarious because my mom, when
Right.
she was in charge of the Kotwali, that time Umrao Jan was being shot.
Oh.
And I told Shad this, I said, Arey, your father, my mother's met your father so many times, Apparently, she used to go on set and take her constables because they wanted to watch shooting. And my mother's a massive Rekha fan.
Right.
So like, if Rekha ji is there, I will go and watch her.
What fun. So look at the connection, huh?
It was too funny. And Shad was like, really? I said, yeah. And then he started laughing. He was like, okay.
So who are you playing? You're playing which character in Call My Agent? Which
Playing Andrea.
Okay, great. I love that show. It's great
It's
fun.
really nice show.
Yeah.
Even we've made like it's turned. I think it's turned out really well.
How many episodes is it?
Sorry, it's 6 episodes. It's the same.
So it's out. It's going to be out
we
this year.
finished shooting for it.
Oh, you're still shooting. Okay.
We finished shooting.
Okay.
Now we're just waiting for the dates of release and where. We don't know.
Yeah, but for you, it really doesn't matter. No, you're platform agnostic. You can go wherever. You're
I've
Netflix
been on every
girl,
platform.
you're
It
an
doesn't
Amazon
matter.
girl, whatever.
It's too funny because the mother keeps making fun. She's like, "Is there any subscription we don't have to take, Ahana?" And I'm like, "No, just take all."
Great. Anna, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. I think we can go on forever, but I guess we'll have to stop at some point. I hope to see you soon in Call
Yes,
Me Agent in India Lockdown. We've already seen you in Bavri Chori. Did you enjoy that, Bavri
not
Chori?
released yet, but it's going to hopefully come out on 15th. I think
Right,
that's the tentative date that they've given.
right. You want to talk a little about that before we end?
Yeah, sure. So that's a film that we shot again in 2019 December,
Right, right,
and it was really again coincidental that I got Khuda Hafiz and Bavri Chori at the same time.
right.
I had to literally decide like, should I take one film or should I take both?
Hmm.
So Ajay Rai, who's my producer from Jar Pictures, he was very sweet. Like I literally went to him and I gave him my dates. I said, "So these are my dates for Khuda Hafiz. Now you tell me how do we work this out? Because I'm in Uzbekistan. I
Right,
have no idea how to come to London and shoot for your film." So
right,
he was like, "एक minute, मैं बैठता हूँ." And he sat on the dates and he was like, "क्या आप इस दिन fly कर सकती हैं उज़्बेकिस्तान से लंदन आने के लिए?" So we literally like had this entire plan chalked out when I would shoot like this scene from Khuda Hafiz, finish, run to London, shoot for Babri Chori, go back.
Globetrotter.
Are also switching on, switching off roles. Like I
Yeah,
was like, there I'm playing Tamina, here I'm playing Radhika.
right,
It was really funny, but it was really like the adrenaline that I got out of playing these two parts at the same time was really fantastic.
right.
Again, the thing that I got sold on for Babri Chori was simply about it was really like this girl, her husband's left her, he's been out for 4 years, and instead of wallowing in self-pity, all she did was, I want to go and find him and kill him. And,
Mhm.
and I think that was really
Right.
fun. And I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, that's a good thought. That's like something that should happen, and I just resonated a lot with that film because first of all, it was about a woman traveling solo to a country,
Right.
meets different people. Uh, every character leaves her with like a certain, uh, a certain thought, a certain afterthought. And
Hmm.
I think that happens a lot with us. I have traveled solo a lot, and
Hmm.
I have met a lot of interesting people. And
Hmm.
when I do meet those people, I go like, listen, my life's really great
Hmm.
compared to like what people are really dealing with in
Hmm.
reality with their lives. So I think that was the beauty of the film about who all she meets, and then eventually when she does meet her husband, what does she feel for him after all this
Hmm.
time of like being able to meet the people who have like led her to him.
Hmm.
So I think that was very beautiful. I think it's a very sweet slice of life film. It's a very good cast that they've put together. There's Nikki Walia. I got to work with Nikki, and I've watched her so much when I was growing up. So
She
just
was lovely on television. She was always so
she's so lovely.
sophisticated, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like just working with Nikki, I was just like, wow, like she's so giving as a human being. She just loves you unconditionally. And I think I've just been very lucky. Like all the women that I have worked with, whether it's
Hmm.
Sony, whether it's Divya Seth,
Hmm.
whether it's
Where
Livia,
did you work with Divya?
I just did sandwich with her.
Oh, right, of course, of
And
course.
Divya and I are very close. Like Sony
Okay,
and I are very close. Divya and me, Ratna ma'am and me. I'm just so happy to be working with this
amazing.
entire network of like
Mhm.
these women, who I learn from every day. I learn from each one of them.
Absolutely,
They're all institutes in their own way.
absolutely. And Divya again comes from the stage in theater in Delhi. Uh, she, she worked with Tag for so many years. She's such a lovely person.
I know I've been telling her I want to meet Sushma ma'am, and I'm just like, listen, I
Right.
don't care. Like, you better make me meet your mom. Like, I don't care. Like, I have to meet her. She's like, yeah, once like everything's okay. We are not meeting her. I said, yeah, whenever.
I have to tell you that I was very fortunate. She was my drama teacher in school. So,
Oh, really? What school were
yeah,
you in?
I was in Convent of Jesus and Mary in Delhi. So she was, and Divya was my senior. So just by a
Oh,
year.
how nice.
But she was our teacher, and I have to tell you, she is so wonderful. So,
I'm just like, I've been so like, I always wanted to see her because I've just seen her on celluloid and I just go like, this is one woman I have to meet. Like there are,
Yeah, and she's exactly like that. She hasn't changed.
I
She's
know,
yeah,
I've
she
seen her recent pictures.
yeah, that's the one I want to grow up to be, you know. Great. So is there anything that we haven't talked about? Any other projects that you're hiding from us, Ahana?
I don't think I can hide for too long, Kaveri. They'll come out. They'll come out in the open. There are no secrets. No, there's nothing else right now, but I'm sure something might line up very soon.
And we have a question from a fan on Facebook. They want to know, when is Call My Agent going to release?
Oh, this one's exciting. So I don't know. I think like I don't know. We were last told March, and then it moved to June, and now it's another month. So
Okay.
as you know, honestly, like even as actors, we have no idea.
Right.
We have
Yeah.
no idea. So
Okay.
I hope soon because I'm really wanting to watch it. We've
Yeah.
all been eating Shahad's head and he's fed up of us.
Great. Ahana, thank you very much again for speaking to us, and all the very best.
Thank you so much, Kaveri.
Yeah,
Really, really nice talking to you after so long.
thank you. And thank you for coming to Tiffin Talks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. See you.